First off, in Kaduna State, it's not just southern Kaduna. Like our Mohamed Bello from Kaduna did mention, there are 7 local governments, and not all of them are in southern Kaduna. In fact, Birnin-Gwari, which is more or less the hotspot, Giwa, Chikun, they are not southern Kaduna local governments. And these are facts. Figures speak to the fact that these are the frontline local governments. So the narrative that is being painted out there that it is southern Kaduna, no doubt southern Kaduna is also being affected, but I don't think I want to leave the audience with the impression that it's just southern Kaduna. It's important we make that clarification. It's also very important. I hear the AIG when he speaks of foreigners coming in. That is just one aspect of the threat element affecting Nigeria. We have to disaggregate for each, and I love what President Bola Ahmed Tinubu attempted to do in the Renewed Hope agenda. What we're hoping, expecting, in the lifespan of the administration, they will create frameworks for addressing these security challenges across the 6 geopolitical zones. And to do that, just like the AIG recommended, we need to study in a sociological manner the reasons for the conflict in the 6 geopolitical zones. They're all different. When you go to the south, southeast, southwest, northeast, north central, northwest, there are differences in the complexities of the conflicts in those locations. So the onus is on the coordinating elements within the national security architecture, the Office of the National Security Advisor, the Minister of Defense, Minister of Interior, Minister of Police Affairs, to an extent the Presidency and the SGF. They need to come up with this framework as quickly as possible. If you ask me, they should have come up with it yesterday. That will guide our state governments in coming up with the structures that we need to address. Because till date, as we're talking, security remains in the exclusive list. Let's not be lost in that conversation. And because it remains in the exclusive list, the federal government has more responsibility. Even though within the Constitution, still, the state governments do have their responsibility. The Constitution allows our governors to direct these federal agencies that are deployed in their state. Forget what governors say that they can't. The Constitution allows them. They are chairmen of the State Security Council. They have that power. Now, point I'm trying to make when I mentioned that in Plateau and Benue, and Kaduna, they've not come up with the effective and efficient structures for managing the peculiarities of their state. Now, the peculiarities of their state are known to us. And that's one other point I would like to clarify when the AIG mentioned that there are ethnic militias involved in this conflict. Yeah. Apart from ethnic militias, there are what I prefer to call non-state armed groups, including terrorist groups in the case of Kaduna. Then there are the bandits. And these bandits, they have different manifestations. They include the armed herdsmen, they include their collaborators. In fact, there is an echo space of involvement across different layers. So if you know you have that in your state, what are you doing to stop it? The most simplistic mechanism that states have come up with is to create vigilantes. And sadly, the creation of those vigilantes has created another problem. Because what we saw in the states where they created vigilantes, even in the case of Plateau State as an example, the principles of equity, diversity and inclusion were not followed. A particular ethnic group will probably dominate those vigilantes. And because when they were being created, there was a perception that another ethnic group is responsible for the challenges. So even innocent members of that other ethnic group were now being targeted. And now you now have a situation where the ethnic group, because they are not being protected, they also seek to weaponize themselves to protect themselves. Now in all of this, and I love what Mohamed Bello mentioned, this issue issue of weapons proliferation. We need to wake up from the slumber that we are in as a country. Till date, we do not have that commission that ECOWAS has recommended for addressing the challenge of small arms and light weapons. We have a center that is domiciled in the Office of the National Security Advisor. That center is operating, quote unquote, under the Office of the National Security Advisor. What ECOWAS recommended is for us to have an independent commission, and it is because ECOWAS recognizes the magnitude of the problem. That is why it recommended a commission. Now, parallel to that center, we have another, and I use this word with all sense of responsibility, illegal commission that is also operating for small arms and light weapons. Why is it illegal? The National Assembly passed an act, a bill rather, and put it forward to the president. That bill has not received presidential assent, but the chairperson of that commission, quote and unquote, is operating more or less illegally. He has come on national TV to say he's still waiting for presidential assent. So at the moment we have two structures that are running independently and trying to manage an existential problem. Every security practitioner that you speak with will admit to you that we have a problem of small arms and light weapons, yet we do not have the structure for mopping up those small arms. So one of the first things we need to do is to make sure that center that is currently in the Office of the National Security Advisor now becomes a commission. And the only body that can do that is the Office of the National Security Advisor, and working together closely with the National Assembly. They need to pass that bill. The President needs to give his assent so that we have that. But with direct response to your question regarding what states can do, once that framework has been created, each state needs to come up with, in the minimum, at least a commissioner, or either on Homeland Security or local government affairs or whatever the administration they want to call it. The second thing they need to do is to make sure they have an intelligence wing that is tied to an early warning system. Now, incidentally, Kaduna has all of these things. The only challenge is that they are not effective for some reasons. The early warning system in Kaduna is one of the best that we've seen in the country. Headed, and then of course they also have a peace commission. The Plateau State also have a peace commission. Okay. But all of these things that I've mentioned must be put together using monitoring and evaluation mechanisms that would allow the governor to measure the performances. And what is the best way to measure the performance? If today we're having attacks in Bokos and Mangu, by the next 3 months there is no attack in all the local governments in Plateau State, he knows that these functions of these structures that he has created are working. If, however, we continuously, like we've been seeing over the past few months, attacks, then something is wrong, and that is what M&E will do to them. So in summary, the structures that would tie in with the existing federal security arrangement and reduce the security challenges in the state is what is missing.
So it's not about training and retraining of the personnel.
It takes more than that.
For them to be able to handle the...
It takes more than that. Apart from training, you need numbers, you need equipment. I talked about diversity, equity, and
intelligence.
When you say numbers, what do you mean by numbers?
So for instance, no matter how well you want to address security, if you do not have presence, and of course the force multipliers, Madam spoke about intelligence, it's an example of the force multipliers. We talk about getting the buy-in of the people. What structures have we created? For instance, if I'm in one small town in Vom, in Jos South local government, and I notice, bandits with guns, which number do I call? How quick can the response that I need come to me? So those are the kind of structures that I mean. Early warning systems as an example. When I see something, how do I say that something?
Okay.
Have those numbers been created? Are they effective? Have we, earlier when we were talking about traditional rulers, part of the challenge is that we have whittled down the power of the traditional rulers. And this happened under the Obasanjo administration. A local government chairman today can remove a first-class emir. A local government chairman. In fact, if there is any disservice that was ever done to Nigeria, it's that we need to reverse that. We need to take it back. In fact, not just at the state level, at the federal level. Let our traditional rulers be revered, let them be respected. Let no governor have the capacity to remove a traditional ruler, frankly. Because they are institutions that should represent our statehood. If we continue to disrespect them in the manner that we're disrespecting them, I mean, all of us, one way or the other, if you remove all the layers of what we are, we're back to that traditional system. So we have allegiance, as it were, to a traditional ruler. Let's give them back that respect that they should deserve. The same way that the other countries that we're copying from, I mean, the King of England at the moment. Imagine touching him, what the English people would do to you. So that's, and then, but today, like I said, a local government chairman can, who is the highest ranked traditional ruler, a local government chairman can remove him. That's the disservice that we don't. So we need to strengthen back that system. The point I'm trying to make is the fabric for security in the country at the moment is not strong.
Okay.
And the reason why it's not strong is because the security governance structure that we have, for one reason or the other. I mean, I can give you examples. The National Security Council, when was the last time it sat? The Nigeria Police Council, when last did it sit? All of these are structures that are in the Constitution to manage security challenges. Unfortunately, they are not.
All right, thank you.